my name is Michelle Perez. I am one of the founding attorneys here at Saavedra Perez, and I'm here to answer any immigration questions that you may have. So please put them in the chat. Um, Anything that I say today, please, you cannot take it as legal advice. This is just me answering any questions for your immigration case in order to get a better idea of what you need specifically for your case. You should definitely call for a consultation. That's 571-583-0791. But please, any questions that you may have regarding immigration, I'm here to answer those for you. So just write them in the chat. I also do speak Spanish. Si hablas español también, si tienes alguna pregunta en español, I can help you. Obviously, my English is better than my Spanish, but I am here for anything that you guys need and any questions that you may have. Again, my name is Michelle Perez. I am one of the attorneys here at Saavedra and Perez. I am the Perez in the Saavedra Perez, obviously. And so I'm here to answer any questions that you may have regarding any immigration questions or maybe specifics about your case. I'm here to answer them. Usually Isabel Saavedra is on these lives, but today I decided to do a little live for you guys. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So if you do put your question in the chat box, I should be able to see them. I see them better in TikTok right now, and it's loading and everything else, but I do see that we have a question from Bobby Jr. My removal proceedings dismissed without prejudice. Can I get my bond money back? Can I get my bond money? Yes, you should be able to get your bond back after posting and your proceedings have been terminated or dismissed or all over with. What has to happen is if you are not the one that placed the money, the person that went to pay is actually the only person that can collect that money. So maybe you had a family member or your attorney go pay for the bond specifically, they're the ones that have to go and get their money back with ICE ERO. The same place that they paid the bond, they would have to go back and show all the paperwork that the bond was issued, and also show your paperwork that your proceedings were dismissed. If your proceedings were dismissed, you should have an order from the judge saying that it was dismissed. An original copy is the best one to show when you go try to get your bond money back, but that's usually how it works. Yeah, but you should be able to get your bond back if your proceedings are dismissed. And for those of you who don't know what dismissed proceedings are, that means that the court has canceled your deportation and has closed out your case. Now, because of the Biden administration, a lot of us are seeing dismissals in court. If you don't have anything pending outside of court with USCIS, you usually are left in limbo and you won't be able to apply for a work permit just based on dismissed proceedings. So I would definitely call us if your proceedings were dismissed so we can see what other opportunities that you might have so that you can get a work permit, maybe residency or special visas. Okay, we're doing a lot of T visas now. A lot of our potential clients don't even realize that they have a potential T visa. T visa is a visa for trafficking victims, and I know when you hear the word trafficking, you're like, that definitely wasn't me, but you'd be surprised on how many potential clients do have a trafficking case, whether they're brought in, smuggled through a coyote, and they've been mistreated through that process, and actually had to work involuntarily without their consent during that time. That can qualify for a T visa. We get more information from you during the consult, and we will let you know, yes, we feel like this is a strong T visa, or yes, there's potential here, and if you want to try, we can definitely take your case and we can put a good T visa together. There's there's also another type of T visa where it's mistreatment from your employers, right? And this is fear of leaving your employers because of the mistreatment that they have done to you, and maybe you feel like you can't leave because you fear the retaliation that they would do, maybe calling the police, calling immigration, and they severely abuse you in the form of, not paying you how much they promised to pay you, paying you late. There's a lot of different T visas out there. Another type is the domestic violence visa. So if you have ever been a victim of domestic violence here in the United States, and you maybe that partner is also undocumented, so you can't go through the visa route, there is a T visa for those victims. Okay, so I would definitely call. Another type of T visa is what we call the Cinderella story. Is when your family member reaches out to you and says, "Hey, come to the United States. There's lots of work. There's great resources here. Come live with me. I'll take you in, and I'll find you a job." Then when you come here, you're mistreated by your family member. Maybe they take your pay. You work for their company. They severely underpay you while you're living with them. They say this is repayment for everything that I've done for you. I've seen a lot of those cases in in any consults that we've had. So please, if that's your situation, you definitely probably qualify for a T visa, and I would definitely call us for a consultation so that we can evaluate your case. Okay, so we have a few questions here on TikTok, and I can answer them. So Mary says, can someone continue with green card petition if the U.S. citizen cheated and left the relationship? Yes. You can't necessarily continue with the same green card petition, but if that U.S. citizen cheated and left the relationship, you probably most likely qualify for a type of case called VAWA. VAWA is a self-petition. And that self-petition means exactly that. You only need yourself to petition. You would be able to show abuse, battery, or extreme cruelty. Extreme cruelty just means psychological abuse, maybe financial control from your U.S. citizen spouse. And if you can show that to immigration, they grant you a VAWA. With the VAWA, you have deferred action. Deferred action meaning they can't deport you. You get a green card. And we also, depending on your situation, at times, most times we can apply for your residency. So if you are in a relationship and your U.S. citizen spouse cheated on you, left the relationship, I would definitely call us for a potential VAWA case. I've done more than 100 of them in my past, so I would definitely call. I've seen it all, and we definitely know what they're looking for, so we can get it right. Okay, Josh is thinking of joining the U.S. Army Reserve. Can I request my parents? Yes, you can request your parents in a particular way. So what we do with U.S. citizen children that might want to request their parents is when you join the U.S. Army Reserve, what happens is you're then able to apply for a parole in place for your parents. Or a deferred action, depending on their history. If maybe your parents entered illegally, entered without inspection, illegally crossed the border, if they can't, with just you alone, a U.S. citizen child over 21, they can't alone, you can't alone petition for your parents because of that illegal entry. But if you do a military parole in place, that gives the parole necessary for them to adjust their status here in the United States through their U.S. citizen child over 21. So the answer is yes, you can definitely help your child. I know a lot of children have done this just to help their child and their parents. I think it's an amazing thing to do. But yes, it does help get your parents the paperwork necessary to stay here with residency and then eventually citizenship, right? Okay. Sandra has a question. My 45 is reviewing from the 4th of May. How long will it take to approve? May 4th is not long at all. Right now, they're taking almost a year, and it really depends what your 45, which is your residency application, what it's based upon. If it's based upon a marriage, those are probably taking about a year. And with that 45 and that marriage, you'll be interviewed at the same time regarding if you have an actual valid marriage to your U.S. citizen spouse and your residency. With your residency, they're looking for your good moral character. Are you a good person? Do you deserve to stay here? With residency, have you done anything in the past that might make you deportable from the United States or inadmissible? And so they're going to be looking at your history to see if you are eligible and if they're able to grant you residency. Okay, so another question, I'm sorry it doesn't have a name here, but do I need to file a fee waiver to get the I-45 filing fee free if filed with the I-360? No, you do not. Okay, as of April 1st of this year, 2024, when you are filing an I-130, and I-130 can either be a VAWA, a SIGIS, and 1,000 other reasons, right, for the 360. The top ones are VAWA and SIGIS. VAWA is the one that I had just talked about. SIGIS is a special immigrant juvenile visa for those juveniles that entered here when they were under 18 and maybe they were abandoned, neglected, or abused by their parents or one of their parents back in their home country, and they've applied for a special visa based on that. So if you did file your I-360 and you want to file the 485, you just attach the receipt notice for in the 485 package and you send it off and they will accept it. Okay, we've done already a number of them since April 1st and had no issues. So they are free. There's no need to file a fee waiver for that 485 if you're doing it based on a 360 VAWA SIGIS. Okay. Sam, Chris, how long will I have to file an appeal if my AOS is denied, and what's the approval rate after appeal? Okay, so for your AOS, you have 30 days to file an appeal, and for your AOS, you have three options. You can file an appeal with the AAO, which I don't recommend because they take forever, or you can file a motion which is considered an appeal, a motion to reconsider or reopen with the same USCIS office that adjudicated that AOS. And the majority of times, I'm doing a motion to reopen and reconsider based on maybe new evidence or they got the law wrong. So it really just depends on the reason that you're filing your appeal and how long it's going to take. I've had a recent appeal take 30 days for a decision, and I've had other appeals that have taken a year and a half. It really just depends on the situation, how complicated it is, and I can't really tell you an approval rate, right? It just really depends on the facts of your case, Sam. So I would call us for a consultation, and we can try to guide you as to what we believe the chances of winning an appeal would be. So call our offices for a consultation, 571-583-0791. So we can see if we can evaluate your AOS denial, see what the reasons are for it, and then we can give you proper guidance as to what our recommendations are. Okay? Can someone, okay, I think Mary already answered that one. Can someone continue with the green card petition if the U.S. citizen cheated and left the relationship? Yes, through a VAWA. Okay, Luis has a question in Spanish. Agarró mi migración como 2 o 3 veces, pero me regresaron a México. Okay, no 2 o 3 veces, pero okay, Luis, usted debe llamar a nosotros para ver cómo nosotros podemos ayudar. Si usted está en México, a veces depende situación. Nosotros podemos aplicar por algunos visas de víctima también, si fuera víctima de tráfico, de un delito, de un esposo o de esposa que está ciudadano o residente, depende de su situación. So, ya nosotros para hacer una consulta, sí podemos ver si usted puede entrar con un visa. Okay? Hernandez, what do you think about the possible new Biden law parole in place for immigrants married to citizens? What do I think about the possible new Biden law parole in place for immigrants married to citizens? Well, anything that will help the immigrant community, obviously, I am for. Right now, they do have special paroles for already in place for immigrants that are married. To U.S. citizens, but there are special paroles also for I-130s that have been approved and are just waiting the visa bulletin or waiting for their visa to be available. There are special paroles from certain countries. Let me see if I can look that up. And we're able to apply for a special request parole so that we can try to bring the family member in before the visa is available. And those specific countries, it's called a family reunification, and those are for I-130s that have been approved. There's also special parole programs for countries Cuba, Nicaragua, Venezuela, and Haiti. And we can try special parole programs for those as well. But there are different parole programs that have been recently released for immigrants that are outside the country that want to come in, and sometimes you do need an I-130 approval and sometimes you don't. But for those immigrants that are married to U.S. citizens, you actually can adjust your status here immediately. So you wouldn't need a parole in place unless you entered illegally and you need a way to adjust here in the United States. That's where you would then see how you would be eligible for a parole in a different type of situation. Okay. Okay, so another question. I am planning on filing the I-360 485-765 together before the I-360 is approved. Is that okay? It depends on what it's on. VAWA. Okay. Also, I would need to file a fee to file them under VAWA, just making sure. No, there's no fees right now for VAWA applicants under the I-360 form. Yes, you can file the 360, 485, 765 all together. I would just make sure that you're doing this with an attorney. VAWA cases can get very complicated. There's things that you have to show. And because it takes so long, right now it's, I think, about 3.5 years, you want to be able to submit sufficient evidence of battery or extreme cruelty, sufficient for USCIS to give you that approval. And you want to make sure that you're detailed enough in what you're telling them, because otherwise, if you get denied 3.5 years later, you just kind of wasted 3.5 years, right? We do VAWA cases. I've done plenty of them. Like I said, over 100. I know exactly what USCIS is looking for. We have payment plans for our clients that maybe have trouble paying it all up front. And depending on your situation, we can help you do that. So call us for consultation. We can see how strong your VAWA case may be, or also depending on your history. You don't just want to file a VAWA with a 360, 485, 765. If you have immigration history, violations, criminal convictions, or any other inadmissibilities that you may not be considering, that immigration is going to look into and possibly deny you for it. So I would definitely do this with an attorney, especially because it takes so long for adjudication, and you don't want to waste those 3.5 years thinking everything will be fine to come to find out that it's denied. Okay? Because, like I said, anything you put in the record is going to be there forever. So USCIS is looking for credibility, looking for a way to deny, right? They're looking for inconsistencies. They're looking for anything that could poke holes in your story. And if there are any holes and they deny, that is on your record forever. Okay? It's very hard for even an immigration attorney to come back and defend somebody that has multiple stories, different stories throughout the years. It's going to be very hard. So I would definitely do this with an attorney so we can do it right, and I would call us, obviously, so that we can do your battle case. Okay. Okay. Nora said, what documents are needed to prove the 10-year bar? My mom self-deported more than 12 years ago. Okay, Norma, the 10-year bar is a very complicated situation, okay? You have a 10-year bar. This is how you get a 10-year bar. If someone enters illegally, stays past 1 year, and then departs, they have created a 10-year bar. That 10-year bar can either be satisfied outside the United States or inside the United States, but it has to be satisfied. Otherwise, depending on the situation of the client, there has to be something else. Norma, if you're a U.S. citizen and you're trying to petition for your mom, there has to be a visa immediately available for you then to request a waiver for that 10-year bar. Also, you might think there's only a 10-year bar, but we have to look at the immigration history to make sure that there's nothing else outstanding for your mom's situation. Like maybe there's an immigration history in the past, maybe there's a removal order, maybe there's an expedited removal that she had obtained at the border that she doesn't even know because you get it quick and they drop you back in Mexico or your home country. And some clients don't even know that they have a removal order. That complicates the situation and it makes it a little bit more difficult to obtain a waiver, but with the right guidance, we can let you know if that's possible or not. So I would call our office for a consultation so we can see if we can help you. Okay, Norma? And your mom's supported more than 12 years ago. Okay, so she has passed the 10 years. We would definitely have to look into her history to make sure that there's no other issues and that you can, if you're a U.S. citizen, can petition for your mom. Okay. Okay, Veronica said, ¿usted me puede ayudar con una duda? Yes, please ask any of your questions here on the live, and I can answer if I have enough time. We have 7 minutes left, and so I'm just going through the questions on TikTok. I apologize for YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm not seeing the chats pop up, but I do see them on TikTok if you want to transfer over there and try to write your question. Okay, BZE has a question. If I ever pass my stay in the U.S., is there a way to be legal in the USA? So I'm guessing that you came with a visa and you overstayed, and you're asking if there's a way to be legal in the U.S. Of course, there's many, many ways, depending on your history and just your history, your immigration history, and what's happened to you here in the United States. A lot of the times, overstaying a visa doesn't mean that you need, to marry a U.S. citizen. There's other ways. There's humanitarian visas for that purpose. If you've ever been a victim of trafficking, even if you've been a victim of your USC or LPR spouse, U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident spouse, there's a way to get a special visa. So I would call our offices to see if you are eligible for any other type of visa, even though you overstay in the U.S. Veronica, your question. Okay. Quería saber si necesito la tarjeta de residencia para hacerme la ciudadanía. Veronica, no. Okay. No sé si usted vendió su residencia, la tarjeta. Si eso es la situación, usted todavía que puede aplicar por la ciudadanía. A veces los oficiales, depende del oficial, quieren que usted aplique por el nuevo de residencia si expiro o vence, ya está vencido. So, depende de su situación. Yo yo aplica por los ciudadanos, por los clientes, sabiendo la oficial que vamos a entrar, ¿no? Algunos oficiales quiere que ¿no? el cliente manda el nueva aplicación para residencia para coger la tarjeta, pero si usted no lo tiene porque lo grabó o lost it, lo perdió, usted sí puede aplicar por la residencia, por la ciudadanía. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay. Brian, can you apply for citizenship after 3 years with green card while 765 is still in process? Yes, definitely, definitely, Brian. That is something that we do a lot and we highly recommend. If you are still married to your U.S. citizen spouse, you can apply for citizenship at the 3 year mark or a couple of days before. I think it's 90 days, excuse me, before the 3 year mark, you can apply for your citizenship. As long as you are still married, you can show that you still live together, right? That it's a valid marriage. So it's like almost like redoing the whole process. Sometimes it even speeds up the 751 because the citizenships are moving way faster than the 751s. And so when you get in front of the officer for your citizenship, they will then adjudicate the 751 at the same time because of the situation. So I definitely recommend, and I've done it in the past, to apply right before the 3 year mark so that the 751 and the naturalization or the citizenship gets approved at the same time. Okay, Sandra, how long does I-45 take to get approved? USCIS reviewing for 7th of May. Okay, Sandra, I think I answered your question before. The 7th of May, May 7th is only a month ago. It's taking about a year, and really depending on what the basis of your 485 is, like married to U.S. citizen or SIGIS or VAWA. It just really depends, but it's definitely not going to be 1 month. After a month and a half, if you apply for work permit, that's usually what comes first. We've had recent work permits come after a month of being submitted, so that's what would come first, your work permit, and then you'll have to wait for your residency interview, or they might waive your interview, but that's going to be taking closer to a year. Okay, perfect. I have about 2 minutes left, and if you have any questions on TikTok, I can see them on the other socials. I can't. But real quick, Saavedra Perez, call us if you need a consultation. 571-583-0791. We're here on live usually twice a week. This week is only once. So tune in on Tuesday at 1 p.m., Thursday at 1 p.m. to hear the lives from Isabel Saavedra. I am busy with our clients, working really hard on the cases to submit them and get them out. But let me see if I have some more time for another question. Okay, so there's a question. If you are here over 2 years and came through the U.S.-Mexican border, what would be your best advice? My best advice would be to call me. Because if you're here for 2 years, depending on how you crossed, illegally or with a visa, there might be another manner for you to adjust your status and maybe get a humanitarian visa, maybe T visa, human trafficking, maybe labor trafficking, domestic violence, VAWA, U visa. If you're younger than 21 in some states, 18 in others, SIGIS, which is special immigrant juvenile visa. So I would definitely call for a consultation. We can see if you're eligible for any of these humanitarian visas or any family petitions, and just kind of give you advice on your situation and what to look out for, and how, if we can't help you at that moment because maybe there's no case, how you can look out for the next case. Okay. Okay, Bobby Jr. says my removal proceedings dismissed without prejudice, PD, can I get LPR with USCIS based on SIGIS? Yes, you can get LPR based on a SIGIS approval. So it looks like your proceedings were dismissed because your SIGIS was approved or pending. So you can get, but with SIGIS, depending on the country that you're from, you have to look at the visa bulletin that's placed on the Department of State to see when you're eligible to apply for your 485, which is your residency. Most SIGIS, you're waiting probably about 4 years before you can apply for residency. It really just depends on your country. But yes, that's usually the next course. The next step is applying for residency after your SIGIS is approved. Okay. And I have one more question here that I can answer. ¿Hay alguna otra opción si no te llaman para la visa de casados voluntary en el caso de Ecuador 3 años? Ok. Depende en qué tipo de petición te mandó. Si está esperando 3 años, tal vez su esposa o esposo está residente de los Estados Unidos y no ciudadano. Es una persona que está cogiendo muchos años. Otra cosa es que tenemos que ver cuáles son los problemas en su caso para ver si hay alguna situación que inmigración está viendo en su caso que usted no sé. ¿Ok? So, llama a nosotros para hacer un consulta. Nosotros puede ayudar también en todos los visas con los consulate. Si usted está en Ecuador, nosotros pues, sí podemos ayudar a usted también. Okay? And so I don't have any more time left today, but please tune in on Tuesday at 1 o'clock. We have lives usually every Tuesday, Thursday at 1 o'clock. On Tuesday it will be Isabel Saavedra at 1 o'clock. She usually does it in Spanish, answers Spanish and English questions. And Thursdays is usually me, answer any questions that you have. But please tune in, follow us on social media, all our social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and soon, we will have our website done so you can look at all of our team and see how our team functions. Right? So I'm so grateful for you guys tuning in. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see